Movies to drink to. Hello everybody, how you doing? Today we're going to take a look at the 8 deadly sins of Bruce Willis. Before we go on, don't forget to subscribe, like and comment and all that lovely stuff that makes me happy. Thank you. Now anyway, if you've seen the Razzie nominations this year, you'll know what I'm on about. And for those of you that don't know what the Razzies are, it's basically the opposite of the Oscars. And since 1981, they've been handing out golden raspberries to the very worst that cinema has offered up the year previous. Leading the charge this year is Diana the Musical with 9 nominations. I haven't seen it. I'm not going to watch it. It looks pretty tasteless. Amy Adams, who has been nominated 6 times in the past for Oscars, is also up for Worst Actress. And just in case anybody was wondering, the person with the most Razzie wins ever is Sylvester Stallone with 10, including Worst Actor of the Decade for the 1980s. Madonna has won 9, Adam Sandler has won 5. And some people who've actually showed up to the ceremony to collect their awards are Tom Green, Halle Berry, Sandra Bullock, and Paul Verhoeven. Oh, and the producers of 50 Shades of Grey. Paul Verhoeven actually said that he enjoyed the ceremony and it was a lot of fun, and it was certainly more fun than reading the reviews for his film Showgirls. Good for him. Good for them. Good for showing up. But the one we're interested is a special category this year they've come up with. Worst performance by Bruce Willis in a 2021 movie. So yeah, Bruce Willis was in 8 films last year. All of them low budget, low rating, straight to video, piles of garbage. I say all of them. I've not seen all of them. I've seen 6 of them. My original plan was to watch all 8 of them and then do this video, but I have other stuff to do. I sort of ran out of time. We're recording again later around Mr. Smith's, and 6 is enough, I feel. I think that's okay. And after watching those 6, I just couldn't put myself through another 2. I'm sorry. I feel like I let you down. But I will talk you and give you, a brief rundown review of the 6 I have seen. Before we go on though, the first question really is, why is Bruce Willis making these films? I mean, he's a pretty big star, right? He's been in some pretty big films, some classic films, Die Hard, 12 Monkeys, Pulp Fiction, Sixth Sense, to name just, a few. So why would a big star be churning out, loads and loads of crap? I mean, loads of crap. Who makes 8 films in a year? Well, he does. Maybe he isn't as big a star as he used to be, which he isn't, let's be honest. He is still a big name. Everyone knows who Bruce Willis is. And he's a big star back in the day, but these days, when was the last time you saw Bruce Willis in a big, good film? I think it's 2012, Looper. Also that same year he was in Moonrise Kingdom in a smaller role, but still a really good film. And of course, over the years, before these last few years where he's shouting out crap, he's made a lot of money. In fact, surely you'd think he doesn't need the money. He doesn't need to be in these films. Apparently, Bruce Willis has a net worth of $250 million. So why is he doing these films? Well, I have a theory. I could be wrong, but I think because Bruce Willis isn't as big as a star as he was, he cannot make as much money off of one film as he used to, which is fine. But over the years, Bruce Willis has become, shall we say, accustomed to a certain lifestyle which he would like to keep up. So it's like, well, I need to make X amount a year. And so it used to be I could make one film and make that money, but now I can't because I'm not as big as a draw. So now I've got to make 8 films to get that same amount of money that I used to every year. It's just a theory, but you could just downsize, Bruce, just live within your means like the rest of us. No, he's just going to churn out crap. Nicolas Cage is in a similar situation. He's in loads of films every year. They're all direct-to-video, or most of them are. Very low budget. But it's different with Cage because he had some real financial, problems over the years. Well, he spent all his money, basically. So he is trying to recoup money back, probably pay people off. And also it's a bit different because, all those films that he's made, excuse me, all those films that Nicolas Cage has made over the years, albeit, they're all pretty low budget, but there's some really good films in there. Color Out of Space, Pig, Mandy, Joe. Anyway, let's get on with the Bruce Willis of 2021. The first one that came out, the first one I watched, is Cosmic Sin, or as one user calls it, Cinematic Sin. The plot of this: 7 rogue soldiers launch a preemptive strike against a newly discovered alien civilization in the hopes of ending an interstellar war before it starts. Okay, so in order to prevent a war, they're going to start a war. Clear as mud. Yeah, that doesn't really make sense, but this film doesn't really make sense. So let's start with the poster here, which is crap. Is there another one? There's another one. But this one here. Now, famously, Bruce Willis doesn't like posing for posters, having his picture taken. And this, if you get a good look at that, is no exception. Because that is somebody's body with Bruce Willis's head superimposed onto it. And that shot of Willis's head there is actually an unused shot from a promo for Die Hard 4. You can see the cut and the wounds on his face are all exactly the same. They've just reused something that was shot for Die Hard 4 and stuck it on there. Cheap as chips. So yeah, it's pretty dreadful. It is a bad film. The action, it's an action, sci-fi action. The action is confusing. There's, you see people shooting, but you don't see what they're shooting at. That's kind of what most of the film is. That's pretty much what it is. It's that, and it's people talking a lot, but what they're saying makes no sense. I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't giving it 100%, but I was like bits where I was like, what's going on? What's happening here? For a film where people talk a lot, you don't know what's going on, but also it's so boring that you don't care what's going on. This is also, I believe, of all of these films, this one has the lowest rating at a whopping 2.5 on the IMDb. Haven't checked Rotten Tomatoes, but can't imagine it's much better. It's probably worse, if anything. The next one he made, Midnight in the Switchgrass. Yeah. The plot of this: an FBI agent and Florida state officer team up to investigate a string of unsolved murder cases. It's pretty generic. Generic by the numbers. Cop, serial killer. Bruce Willis plays an aging cop. You don't see him much. Actually, with all of these films, Bruce Willis is actually not in them all that much. The weird thing is this film also has Emil Hirsch in it, who's like an actor that's been in things. So I don't know what he's doing. Megan Fox is also in it. Lucas Haas is in it. Like I said, Willis is hardly in it, and he delivers all of his lines like he's sleepwalking. Like, somebody get this guy a coffee, wake up. It's pretty, like I said, unoriginal, by the numbers, just boring. I couldn't keep my attention. I actually feel bad for the other actors in this film. Like, Megan Fox is nominated for a Razzie this year for Worst Actress for this film, and she is pretty bad in it. But Machine Gun Kelly is in this film. And I'm not saying MGK is a good actor, but at least he's trying. Harder than the leading man, anyway. Jesus Christ, Bruce. What was the other one? Out of Death. Ooh. This one's got Jamie King in it. What is the plot? I watched this the other day and I can't remember what the hell actually happened. It was so dull. A corrupt sheriff's department in a rural mountain town comes undone when an unintended witness throws a wrench into the shady operation. This is the one I didn't actually finish watching because the bloody internet packed up. I only 40 minutes into this, but I don't care because it was crap. It was boring. Willis again is just like half asleep throughout the entire film. Apparently, Bruce Willis was on set for 1 day for this film. It's supposed to be 2, but COVID happened, so they've done it all in one, and you can tell he's not in it that much. When he is on it, he's just like half asleep. There's a lot of body doubles and stuff like that. It's and everyone's awful in it. Also, it looks awful. The whole thing has this like the color seems to have been sapped out of the entire film. It's just what I saw of it, it's not good at all. Next up, Survive the Game. This one has Chad Michael Murray in it as well. A man's life on his farm is interrupted when a cop and a pair of dangerous criminals show up. Sounds good. It's not. It's very cheesy. It's very cheesy, generic action film. The dialogue is just laughable. Bruce Willis's character is shot within the first few minutes, and then he spends most of the rest of the film off screen. When he does show up, though, he seems to be not affected by the gunshot wound in his stomach. And again, shout out to the stunt double and the doubles of Bruce Willis who do most of the work in this film. Also, there's a woman in this film who, for some reason, is dressed up like Harley Quinn throughout the whole film. I couldn't find a decent picture of her, but you see what I mean by that one. Don't know why. And like her boyfriend is kind of like he looks a bit like Alec Baldwin if Alec Baldwin was trying to do Jared Leto's Joker. So there's like that kind of thing going on for some reason. It's bloody crap. And then we have... What do we have next? Was this, I think, the last one I watched? Ah, yes. Apex. This is directed by Edward Drake, who also directed the Cosmic Sin. So he's churning out a few films a year as well. Apex. 6 elite hunters pay to hunt down a man on a deserted island, only to find themselves becoming the prey. Now, in this film, Bruce Willis is the one that they're hunting, but he's such a badass that it turns out, the hunted have become the hunters, right? But I say Bruce Willis. Again, body doubles doing all the work. I would say Willis is slightly less crap in this one. He's still god-awful, but slightly less crap. He seems to... I don't know. I think they got him on a good day. He seems to be having a bit more fun. It's his character, or at least the way he's portraying it, seems a little bit more light-hearted. But yeah, the idea of this film is that there's 6 people on an island. They're going to hunt Bruce Willis because he's like unhuntable. He's such a badass. And they're like, well, we can do it. Oh, no, you can't. He's Bruce Willis. And Bruce Willis has this idea. He's going to turn them, because there's no rule that the hunters can't kill each other. So Bruce Willis is going to turn them against each other, and they're going to kill each other, and that's how he's going to win. How he's going to do that doesn't matter, because they do it anyway without him interfering whatsoever. Because, again, he is not on screen for most of this film. It's just fucking ridiculous. Deadlock. Oh, I've only seen 5. I'm sorry, I thought I'd seen 6. I didn't get around to watching Deadlock. Patrick Muldoon's in this one. The guy from Starship Troopers. An ex-military man working in a Georgia power plant has to spring into action to prevent disaster when a group of rogue soldiers gain control of the plant and take the employees hostage. Why? Doesn't matter. Haven't seen it. Not going to watch it. And then there's Fortress. Who's in this one? Jesse Metcalf. Oh, and Chad Michael Murray again. What's it? A group of criminals hell-bent on revenge forces a retired officer and his son to save the day. Isn't that Die Hard 4 or 5? Isn't it? Oh, never mind. And finally, American Siege. An ex-NYPD officer turned sheriff of a small rural Georgia town has to contend with a gang of thieves who have taken a wealthy doctor hostage. Why? Again, haven't seen it, not going to watch it, who cares? Yeah, they're all awful. Why make these? They can't have made any money, really. I know why Bruce Willis made them, because he wanted the money, but I'm talking about like studios and stuff, like, well, who knows? Of the ones I saw, well, I guess the question is, what's he going to win the Razzie for? Probably Survive the Game. He's terrible in it, like really, really bad. Overall, the worst film of them is Cosmic Sin. Cosmic Sin! The best, if I had to pick one, probably Midnight in the Switchgrass. It's still terrible. It's shit. But I'm just saying that because maybe just some credit to the like Emil Hirsch and the other people that at least kind of tried. But yeah, so we will see. I'm not sure when the Razzies is, sometime around the Oscars, which one takes the golden raspberry. It's all a bit sad, really, isn't it? Old Brucey Willis. I mean, at the end of the day, in these films, he's not on screen all that much, and he doesn't do a lot. He's either sitting and talking or standing and talking. I say talking, just kind of reading lines. But he's a 66-year-old man. I don't expect him to be jumping out of windows and like, fighting and stuff like that. I expect him to act. It is his job. If you don't want to do it, you can just retire. This all got me thinking, though. Obviously, Bruce Willis starring in these, these low-budget films just for money. He shows up for a day, and they get to like put him in the film for like 3 scenes. They slap his name on the poster, hoping it will just make money. Do you remember Planet Terror from, what year did that come out? 2007, I think I'm right. Bruce Willis is in that film briefly. And if you just go to its IMDb page and hit trivia, and the first one that comes up there, says, the appearance of Bruce Willis in a minor role is a subtle nod to an old marketing trick often employed by grindhouse makers. They would contract a big-name movie star to appear in their movie for one day for a few frontal shots only, while the rest of the scenes were done with a double filmed from the back. A picture of the big star would then be placed on prominently on the movie's poster in order to boost sales. Planet Terror is a parody and a pastiche of those films. Bruce Willis has become what he was making fun of back in 2007. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Thanks for listening. Don't check out any of those films. Do yourself a favour. And as I said at the beginning, don't forget to like and subscribe and yada yada yada. Love you, bye.